A very good morning to all my dear students. Now, students, today we are going to begin with a very beautiful poem, and the name of the poem is The Human Seasons. This poem has been written by John Keats. So, first, let us know about the poet John Keats. He was born in the year 1795 and he died in the year 1821. He was an English romantic poet who contributed several great works to the canon of English language poetry. Though Keats trained formally as a surgeon, his literary pursuits distinguished him as a tactful writer even in his own time. Now, let us try to understand the structure of the poem, The Human Seasons by John Keats. Is a sonnet. It has 14 lines. The poem is divided into four stanzas. The first, second, and the third stanzas has 4 lines each, and the fourth stanza has only 2 lines. The Human Seasons by John Keats. 4 seasons fill the measure of the year. There are 4 seasons in the mind of man. He has his lusty spring, when fancy clear takes in all beauty with an easy span. He has his summer, when luxuriously springs honeyed of youthful thoughts he loves to ruminate, and by such dreaming high is nearest unto heaven quiet coves. His soul has in its autumn, when his wings he furleth close, contented so to look on mist in idleness, to let fair things pass by unheeded as a threshold brook. He has his winter too, of pale misfeature, or else he would forego his mortal nature. This poem presents the different stages of life, and for Keats, the passage of the year is a measure which can be filled with 4 seasons. The 4 seasons represent the mind of man. In this poem, the poet explains that man has a different outlook for every season of life. Here, spring is described as the first stage of the year, which is very short and happy, and is compared to the first period of our lives, childhood. The period from birth till childhood is a period when everything is beautiful and lusty. And for every child, it is almost the beginning of a bright and shiny future. Childhood period is featured by physical stamina, innocence, tremendous appetite for fun and play. During the spring season, which is the childhood of man's life, we are healthy and our minds are fresh and everything seems possible. During the childhood period, we are carefree and free of thoughts, and we take in all the beauty with an easy span, with no compulsion or force. Keats has personified spring as lusty to draw a parallel between the youthful state of mind and spring. The second stage of human life, which is youth, is compared to the summer season, which is marked by pleasantness, blooming vegetation, and is the season of fertility and immense harvest. Similarly, youth is marked by the end of childhood innocence, and this stanza shows us how spring and summer relate to each other. Youth is a glorious age of our life and is the beginning of self consciousness and high spirits of relationships. We decide which path to take in life and make plans to settle down. In this stanza, the poet suggests that the times of our life do not simply pass. Each season is related to the previous one, and the progression is gradual. Our mind is reflective and it connects past and present. As we enter from childhood to adulthood, we are no longer lusty, but we can recall the sweet memories of our childhood. Here, Keats mentions ruminate thoughts, which means that we are able to think about what we have done in our childhood as our mind is reflective. These thoughts can be reflected on with more clarity and chewed just like a ruminant or cow who can chew and rechew its cud. Through these thoughts, man can be totally happy and gains a sense of enlightenment that is nearest unto heaven. While growing nearer to heaven, he enters the quiet coves of autumn. The third stage of human life, which is middle age, is compared to autumn season, which suggests some emotional closure and resignation into one's own thoughts. The line soul in its autumn and furleth close its wings suggests the ability to harness powers of higher imagination and aligns with the wiser years of later adulthood. As we enter the autumn season, we learn the truth of life and understand the right things. A man at this stage is no longer interested to participate in every activity or thought around him. Keats used the phrase threshold brook, which implies abstract things, and says that the man at this stage is contented to allow things to pass by, thereby attaining complete composure of mind. The last stage of man's life, which is old age, is compared to the winter season. It reminds us of the mortal nature of man. The phrase pale misfeature suggests that at this stage the man's physical appearance becomes pale, which means physical strength begins to fall. The energy which he used to have is no longer there, and he doesn't look that fresh. At this stage, people become mentally prepared to leave the world that is for death. Death is inevitable and is everyone's destiny. So, as winter season closes the year, similarly, old age closes our life on earth to eternal rest. In this poem, man embraces every stage of life he finds himself in and seems aware of that stage fully, while never entirely acknowledging the next. Keats died at the age of 25, and it is amazing that he was able to produce this kind of reflective work so young. By animating the seasons, Keats creates a vision of human life that mirrors natural processes, reinforcing the bond between humans and the environment.